So Gunatics, we are basically going to just take and test out this SP01, and we're going to just pit it against its predecessor, the 75B, and just see what they'll do down here on range of paper and get a look. You know, we're not going to cherry pick, so this is the first bullets through this gun. You know, if I shoot like that's what you're going to see. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed. Good. Well, she's doing her job. I'm just not doing mine. We'll get back at it. This is the CZ75B. We're going to go ahead and compare that to just what happened down range. We're shooting at 10 yards with the SP01, and we'll just see how it goes. Keep our fingers crossed. They should be fairly close, but this will be the proof, I guess, in the pudding. First failure, you guys. CZ75B using 115 grain HSM. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, not too shabby. No complaints there other than that. So we'll have to take some dimensions on this, and I'm going to take a look at another shell. We'll see what feeds through here nice, and we'll compare them. We'll see how tight that chamber actually is. So, cool, thanks.
Not bad.
It felt like it was flipping quite a bit to me. Maybe that's just me, but looks like most of them got on there. So, you know, I'm not going to complain about that. But wow, for me that's pretty good. So this gun must be doing something, right? But it definitely felt like she was hopping around a little bit. So, especially compared to that SIG. We tried I know the mic, we got a lot of wind coming in, you guys, so you may not hear this. I may have to do a dub over or something. But we tried the SP01 rapid fire. Man, it looked really good to me. You know, so we're going to try the 75B doing the same exact thing, see what happens. So, okay. bounces around a little too. Not as good as, I didn't shoot that as well as the SP. That may not be the gun's fault at all. It just maybe the way it holds in my hand. It could be that these are the plastic grips compared to the rubber grips. You know, so I may trade those out and see what happens. Hey guys, this is Boss. Hey, I just want to do a small wrap up regarding the kind of the head-to-head versus the SP01 and the 75B. Probably I should have done my shooting, etc. in reverse, but you know, I was more kind of inclined to lean towards the styling of this particular gun, so I tended to shoot it first. So, you know, if I was going to follow tradition, I probably should have started with the 75B, but this is how we're going to do this, so keep it consistent. Out of the two guns, did I have a preference? Well, yeah, I did. I tend to lean towards the SP01, and there's a couple reasons why. For me, it involved the rubber grips, and both my son and I, we shot both guns. These plastic grips, though comfortable, and they are comfortable. When you hold this gun, it feels very nice in the hand. But it's not near as comfortable as the rubber grips that are supplied with the SP01. And I do know that the 75B Omegas come with the rubber grips. They also come with the bigger sights. So for me, that also leaned me towards the SP01. If you look at the sight picture here, the sights are just much larger. Even though they're night sights, it doesn't matter. During the day, I just could acquire my target much faster with these sights as compared to the 75B. Hopefully you guys can see how much smaller those sights are. All right. Now my son, he tended to prefer the 75B sights, and I think that might have to do with the fact that he's younger, his eyes are better, and he felt like he could get a much finer target picture using these sights. So his preference was for the 75B. So I think that is just a matter of personal preference. As far as the actual shooting of the guns, boy, both shot beautiful. I had no complaints for either of them. If we're going to take a look at the targets here in just a second, but before I go, I just have to say that they're both very comfortable hold. The recoil is manageable. They shot like a dream, except for with remanufactured HSM ammo. That was a problem, but they fed everything else beautifully. If I use new ammo, they shot great. So I'm not sure how that's going to bode for reloading. I'm really curious to find out, and sometime at a later point I will do that and see what kind of results I get with these two CZs. But both of them had issues with the HSM, some of the HSM ammo. So the last thing I want to talk about is obviously these two guns come with mags that have different capacities. So here with the SP01 we've got 18. Here, I'll wipe that off so maybe you guys can see that. Here we got 16. So does that make a difference? Well, a little bit in weight initially, but not much. I tend to like the feel of my finger along this plastic edge. My son didn't like it. He much preferred the standard mag. What I did like about, if you have both guns, or even if you don't, and you want to get different mags, they're interchangeable. Okay? This, we tested this out. This worked perfectly fine here. Okay? These mags worked perfectly fine here in the 75B. So you can exchange or interchange mags when you go buy mags for yours. If you like to have more capacity, or you prefer this extension here when you're gripping your gun, well, there it is. So you can combine or use in conjunction with one another. So that's I think the last thing I want to say on these. Do I have a preference as to which one I would rather own? Man, I'd rather own both. I do own both. No, I don't, because I just gave this to my son because he preferred this one. So, and what was beautiful about that was I preferred this one. So I think we're both going to be happy. So let's get these out of the way and look at targets really quick. Wrap this up. So we have this is the SP01's target during rapid fire. Let's go through here really quick. Here's the CZ75Bs. So you know we had two that were just like right here off paper. So I took these and transferred them over to a standard target so we could kind of compare groups. Let's keep them in order there. So if we're looking at these groups, you're going to find that both guns are comparable with size to group. We only had one flyer that went totally off the paper out of 10 shots. 9 landed in on both of them. 1 separated by a little bit of a distance on both of them. And it's pretty much a standard group size. I mean, I think it's kind of hard to really compare. And I'm not a great rapid fire shooter. Matter of fact, if you saw some of my groups with, you know, my 45, my 1911, etc., or my 40 cal Beretta or whatever, you would see that this is really atypical for me. So I was very surprised with their performance here, but I'm very happy with the stock gun for $550 for one, you know, $600 for the other. I'm very, very pleased with their performance. I cannot complain about this. So very pleased with these groups. And then if we go flip right over here really quickly and take a look at what they did, just basically offhand, you know, very consistent again, though the SP01 in my hands is shooting a little to the right, so I may adjust that back sight a little bit. But and one flyer, and this is me, so this isn't the gun for sure, this is me. But if we were just to get these a little closer together, let's kind of go like this. It's about as close as I can get them without overlap. I mean, there's just not a ton of difference there, and probably that's just user error. That's just me behind the trigger. So I think both very accurate, excellent guns. I think CZ is underrated to a certain extent. I think people don't think of CZ when they're looking at handguns, and which is a shame. And I really would highly encourage a person, if they were out looking for a good handgun, they like a full-bodied, a full-weight handgun, they're not looking for polymer, man, what an option. And they do have some polymer options, so if you wanted to go that route, you certainly could. The Phantom, etc. But I tend to like the weight of a full-size gun, and it's comfortable in my hand, and I just like the balance of it. So if you're anything like me, these definitely would be something to consider. Last thing I want to mention, if you're a guy with small hands, I'm 6'3", and I've got pretty big hands, okay? When I hold these guns, you can see how much room there is here, okay? If you're a guy with small hands, these guns might not be as comfortable in your hand, all right? And that goes for both of them. So, here, let's get both hands wrapped around. You see that gap there? And that to me is real comfortable, but it's still, there's a gap there. It's pretty good. And I've got big hands. So, I think that's going to boil down to personal preference. Anyways, head to head, which one wins? Man, I think whichever one's in your hand, I think you're going to be a winner, no matter how you slice this. Nothing stood out about either of these that makes it better or worse than the others. It boils down to a lot of personal preference. So, man, I think you're going to be happy if you choose either of these guns. If you were to go and pick one up, I think you're going to have a tough time not going home with it. They're very, very comfortable, well-balanced, well-made guns. And the workmanship on here is absolutely beautiful. On both guns. I was very impressed. Anyways, that pretty much finished things off for me. Thanks for coming, you guys. Love having you visit my channel. And, you know, as always, you gotta love that. I know I do. And we'll see you next time. This is Boss out.